Blake Lively, Hollywood sweetheart, red carpet icon, and lawsuit magnet? You might think you know her from Gossip Girl or her picture-perfect life with Ryan Reynolds. But behind the polished image, there's a string of unhinged moments that even her biggest fans might find hard to ignore. From bizarre lawsuits to eyebrow-raising scandals, we're diving into Blake's most unpredictable moments. But before we get into it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Every single sub helps me buy more coffee, and trust me, I need it to keep up with all these Hollywood scandals. So hit that button, and let's get into it. The lawsuit drama that shocked Hollywood. Let's start with the lawsuit that put Blake Lively in headlines for all the wrong reasons. It all began when she had an odd encounter with producer Jamie Heath on set. According to reports, Jamie, who is also the CEO of Wayfarer Studios, was invited into Blake's trailer for a scheduled meeting. When he walked in, he found her having makeup removed from her collarbone while breastfeeding. That alone wasn't an issue, but what followed was strange. Weeks later, Blake reportedly accused Jamie of making inappropriate eye contact with her. He immediately apologized, saying he hadn't realized he was looking at her that way.
Best friend and I, when we were in 10th grade, we had like crazy crushes. We would drive around, like stalk these guys. We decided one night to go to the arcade where they were, and I put bronzer all over myself in a Scary Spice fro, so I thought they would think I was like a black girl, and so I could stalk them.
But Blake responded with an even more bizarre comment. I know you weren't trying to cop a look. And that's where things took a turn. Jamie is a black man, and people quickly pointed out that Blake's accusation echoed a deeply disturbing history, where black men were once punished for simply making eye contact with white women. Given that Blake also held her wedding on a former slave plantation, the optics weren't exactly in her favor. Coincidence? Maybe. But when you connect the dots, the story gets darker. The cosplay scandal, Blake's shocking 10th grade story. If you thought that was bad, wait until you hear about this one. Years ago, Blake shared a story from her teenage years that has since resurfaced, and not in a good way. She admitted that in 10th grade, she wore bronzer all over her body, put on a Scary Spice-inspired wig, and pretended to be a black girl, just so she could stalk a crush at an arcade. Yes, that actually happened. People were not impressed when this old interview clip started making the rounds again. The internet quickly pointed out how problematic it was, especially given the long history of white celebrities facing zero consequences for racially insensitive behavior. Some even joked that this incident might explain why Blake is suddenly at the center of so much controversy now.
Read the gossip magazines and everybody is dating everyone, everybody hates everyone, everybody's like had tons of plastic surgery and we're actually men and trannies.
The Gossip Girl feud, Blake versus Leighton Meester. Blake's drama doesn't stop at lawsuits and old stories. She's also got beef with her former co-star, Leighton Meester. While filming Gossip Girl, Blake allegedly made some very pointed comments about Leighton, even going as far as to say she started life from a cage. Why is that such a low blow? Because Leighton was literally born in prison. Leighton has spoken openly about her difficult childhood, and fans were shocked that Blake would reference it so casually. But that wasn't all. During a press tour, Blake referred to some of her co-stars as monkeys, another comment that, in hindsight, aged like milk. And if that wasn't enough, she made a weird flex about how blondes are nicer, clearly shading Leighton, who had to dye her hair brown for her role as Blair Waldorf. Coincidence? Or a calculated move to take subtle digs at her co-star? You be the judge. The Dragons text that had everyone scratching their heads. Blake's text messages have also gotten her into trouble. In a bizarre message to Justin Baldoni, she wrote, "If you ever get around to watching Game of Thrones, you'll appreciate that I'm Khaleesi, and like her, I happen to have a few dragons for better or worse." She then hinted that her dragons were Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift, implying that they would go to war for her if needed. This left people wondering, was Blake threatening Justin with her celebrity connections? Or was she just really bad at reading the room? Either way, it didn't exactly help her case. Deadpool versus It Ends With Us, the failed Barbieheimer moment. Blake and Ryan Reynolds seem to have their sights set on creating the next Barbie versus Oppenheimer moment when it ends with us, and Deadpool and Wolverine were set to release. The only problem? It didn't work. Ryan even made fun of Justin Baldoni, who directed It Ends With Us by portraying a cool guy with a man bun in Deadpool. Fans quickly speculated that it was a jab at Baldoni, and it didn't go unnoticed. Even worse, Blake didn't read the book before filming It Ends With Us, something that made diehard fans furious. How do you star in a movie adaptation and not even glance at the source material? Yikes. The lawsuit escalation served papers. During a wildfire evacuation, just when you thought it couldn't get worse, it did. Blake's legal team served Justin Baldoni his lawsuit papers while he was evacuating wildfires in Los Angeles. Yes, while his family was packing up their home, grabbing their pets, and trying to get to safety, Blake's lawyers tracked him down and delivered legal documents. If the lawsuit itself wasn't already messy enough, this move made it 10 times worse. Fans accused Blake of being calculated and heartless, showing no regard for the situation at hand. Hollywood's perception of Blake is changing. From eye contact scandals to legal drama, racial controversies, and bizarre text messages, it's clear that Blake Lively's polished image is starting to crack. Whether or not she can recover from this remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure: Hollywood isn't looking at her the same way anymore. What do you think? Is Blake just misunderstood, or is there a pattern of behavior that's impossible to ignore? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Every sub helps me buy more coffee, and let's be real, I need caffeine to keep up with all this Hollywood drama. So hit that button and keep the stories coming.